Hi, I am Melissa Banko, and welcome to the Banko Buzz, a commercial interior design podcast. As a professional leader in our design industry, we found that there were a lot of questions that were coming to me and to us about business and growth and mentorship and really the people behind the design. So we created the Banko Buzz. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. Thanks for joining us on the Banko Buzz. Hi, and welcome back to the Banko Buzz. I am sitting here with a friend and colleague, Wynne White.
I'm so excited to be here and
excited.
honored that you'd have me.
I mean, listen, powerful woman doing all the things,
Yeah.
being so productive, and all of
Trying,
you're
yeah.
doing a great job. So we're gonna talk about a lot today.
Yes, I'm excited.
So what I would love for you to give us is, what the hell do you do all day? Who are you? What do you do?
Question. So I have been doing the fabrics for the line for the past about 7 years. So I do all the Gabby fabrics, which there's about 400 of those, and 200 Summer Classics fabrics. And then I created Wendy Jane, which is pillows and rugs. And so I design all of those as well. But I'm also vice president of business development.
Yes, you are. Say it again.
So, and it sounds so much bigger than it is, I feel like. But so I work on the contract and wholesale sides to help manage reps, manage our largest customers, and do day-to-day for them.
You're downplaying the importance of partnership and relationships,
Yes.
which you're great at,
And
which is
that's
why
my
they gave you this
shtick.
big
That's my
old.
shtick. Exactly. I love relationships.
So we are talking about on the podcast in general, season 1 and season 2, just all things commercial interior design, because quite frankly, I don't think that the general public and maybe even
Understands
people
it.
in
Yeah.
other aspects of the industry understand what we really do all day. And so
Absolutely.
jokingly, my first question to you is, what do you do? Because there are so many facets of the interior design industry from a
Yes,
commercial standpoint.
absolutely.
Design, representation, manufacturing, product development, all of these things that are much needed to, at the end of the day, get these great projects done.
Yes, absolutely.
So you are so layered in all that you do every day because you've got your work life.
Well, the ADHD really helps with
yeah.
the layering.
You're talking to a fellow. So you're managing all these great things at work, but you're also momming and,
Yes, I am.
raising a family. And so we're just going to dive into what that looks like. And, joking, we were doing some prep, just chit chat. And it was like, well, we can talk about it, but I feel like I'm failing. It's like,
Yes.
okay, welcome to
I don't
every
think-
working mom
yes,
ever
if you
feels
are a
like we're
mother,
failing.
Even a mother, even just a mother, you just consistently feel like the mom guilt is the worst part of it all. And that, can envelop you. It really can.
Well, I say I feel guilty when I'm at home sometimes that I should be doing work things. And then when I'm at work, I
Absolutely.
obviously feel really guilty that I'm not, I'm not present physically.
Yes. And that's the biggest thing, I think, for me is to the quality time that I do have with them, because I travel so much, is meant to be, I need to be present, and I need to be there, and I need to be on the floor with them playing, and I need to be, really a part of their everyday activities. But I do find myself answering my phone and responding to emails and getting unfocused. And I just have to constantly remind myself that this is what life's about. Put my phone up when I get home from work, and, it can wait till tomorrow.
Yeah.
So.
But it is about balance. I feel like, listen, our industry as a whole has come a long way in the last
Absolutely.
15 years.
Absolutely.
I've been practicing almost 20. And so there was no flexibility.
Yes.
There was no working from home.
No,
There was
no.
no, I need to leave early. I mean,
Yeah,
architects and
exactly.
designers and even on the manufacturing side, I mean, it was like 24/7 you
Yes,
guys were on call.
absolutely, yeah.
With us,
no
it was
doctor
like,
appointment,
no.
nothing. Yeah.
Your butt
Therapy,
was in that.
forget about it.
We all need it now because of that.
Exactly.
So your butt had to be in that seat, and you had to be drawing, and you had to be productive, and all that. So I applaud our industry for adapting to some of that. I think
exactly. And
the pandemic
honestly,
did that.
COVID really
I was just about to
helped
say
with that.
It was like, look, we're forced to.
yes, and
Our-
we're doing okay.
Yes,
you know?
and firms learned that.
Yeah.
Banko was already set up to do that because I had worked for some big firms and was having kids. I was very much in that starting my mom life, and the answer was, we're really not equipped to do that. I don't think it was just a no, like, you can't.
Yeah.
It was, they weren't set up to do it. Just infrastructure wasn't there. We didn't have laptops and things like that.
Exactly.
So it was great that they were forced to
set up.
Yeah.
So
we started the firm here. It was like, listen, I'm momming. Big part of our culture here is, as cliche as it is, that work-life balance, because you can find it.
Yes.
Sometimes you do feel like you're doing better in one category, but as long as at the end of all of it, you are like, okay, I was able to, sort of juggle it, right?
Yeah.
So we were set up with laptops to be able to work remote and all those things, and we were really lucky that we were kind of on the forefront of that.
Yeah.
But so again, kudos to our industry for doing that,
Absolutely.
because sometimes you just can't turn it off. Yeah. I wonder what the travel for sure. But you can't really turn it off, right?
No,
do you
can't,
feel like you ever really turn your brain off to the work things? And then my follow-up question to that and layered is that because we love what we do?
Okay, so being from a family company,
And that's a whole other dynamic.
Yeah. But it's like in my blood, I feel like, and this was my father's dream and has then become my dream for this to grow and flourish and, be successful. And, with the times right now, it's very circumstantial and we don't really know what's going on, but I think about it all day long and all night long, and I can't get it off my mind. And sometimes that's the difficulty with family, is that Christmas is not spent talking about Christmas.
There you go. Yeah. Well, because it's a family business.
Yeah,
so there's that commonality. It's like getting together with coworkers.
Exactly.
Even after hours, sometimes you're like, do we really just sit and talk about work
for 3 more hours?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. But I think, again, is that because you just love what you do and it sort
or
of
is it because you spend so much time doing it and you don't, you can't get your brain to turn off?
But also at the end of the day, my why, I love what I do. I love designing.
Absolutely.
I love being in a leader, having the opportunity to lead.
Absolutely.
But I really do also work for our family, and not just from a financial standpoint.
Yes.
But I want my kids to see that if you really do work at finding the balance, that you can have,
Absolutely.
the things. You can have a family, you can work,
to know
and
that they can
hard work
do
pays off.
anything if they work hard enough.
Yeah.
They can be anything they want to be, and they can do whatever they dream of as long as they work hard.
Hi, I'm Melissa Banko, founder and visionary here at Banko Design. Welcome to season 2 of the Banko Buzz, where we are focusing on all of the seasons that each of us go through in our career paths. We're talking to lots of partners and consultants and advocates for our industry. Tune in and follow us along this entire season. And also, you can find us on anywhere that you listen to your podcasts. Are the kids going to be part of the family business? Do people ask you that?
I don't know if I want them to be that messed up. Kidding. I mean, if they had a desire, of course, we would. But I have a feeling it'll be something like when they're 17 and they need a summer job and they're the receptionist.
Well, and they test it out.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, how did you?
Well, that's what, I kind of pre-read some of your questions, and one of those was, did you ever think you'd work for your father? And the answer is hell no.
Really? Like at the end of the day, you really never thought you would?
I worked there as a receptionist at 17, and he fired me in front of everyone for playing on the music speaker accidentally. Baby Got Back.
Stop.
Which was on the hold music, and I really messed that one up. But
lessons learned here, people.
Yes, learned here. But I, was fired, and I'm like, good, I have the summer off. Thank you very much. And I will never be back. Never be back. But then 2008 happened and jobs were lost. And, my dad came to me. I was actually working at a school with autistic children at the time. Because when I had lived in New York, I worked with children a lot. And so I was making like $10 an hour living with my parents and crying on the bed like, how do I do this? This is horrible. I can't do it. It's too hard. And my dad came in and said, I think you'd be really good at this. And I said, I'll try it, but don't want you to interview me. I want to go through the interview process like a normal employee.
Okay.
I don't want to be looked at like your daughter that gets privilege.
No nepo baby here.
Yes, no nepo baby,
Okay.
please. And so I did those steps, and he wasn't my boss, which ultimately he is my boss right now. But times changed after about 15 years. So,
well, there was a stint in New York.
Yes.
Stand-up comedy and improv.
Yes.
Which did that groom you and prep you for having to be in business development?
Exactly. It really did, because what I found is, I always loved making people laugh. I said since I was in kindergarten, I'm going to be a comedian. I love to make people laugh. I was also a fat kid, so I think that comes with that. You got to earn that. You got to earn that spotlight.
Exactly. Yeah.
And so
it's horrible.
It is horrible. It was horrible. No, but I made it through with a quick spout of anorexia. I'm past that now. I'm great.
Therapy. Remember how we said therapy?
Therapy, back to therapy, back to therapy. But yes, living in New York, doing stand-up, I just realized that I love people and I love making people laugh, but I don't want to be famous and criticized. And, I don't want to be on a sitcom or be on television. I just really like to stand up there and make people laugh. And it's enough for me to do that for friends and company and people in business. And also I made no money. And
it's hard.
And it's really hard. And also a lot of the people that I worked with, comedy is tragedy. It's based on tragedy. And so off camera, they're not that funny of people. They're very dark, and I saw a lot of them going down dark paths, and I just,
So it was one of those myself. I thought maybe I tested it out. I thought from being, from even an early age, that was something you're going to do. You tried it.
Yeah.
You probably had a blast.
It was so fun. And
then
I met the best
realized
friends I've ever met in my life.
That's not my path,
yes,
right? But
exactly.
But joking aside, I mean, we talked about this. We've talked about it with other guests before. You got to try the things, you got to learn those things. And then it is funny when you look back because it's so applicable to where you ended up or whatever season you're in. Because if this isn't your last season, even in career or whatever, you have something that's completely applicable. And I'm built like you, the ADD part, and also just loving being around people.
Yes,
and when all of these things came out about, this is what it's like to be an extrovert. This is what, and everyone's now labeled. You're either one or the other. I'm like, listen, there's a lot of us that are in between or different seasons of our life or different times of the day.
Yes,
but I, at the end of the day, just really, I'm energized by other people's energy.
Me too.
And
Same,
so
exactly.
having that experience and being in New York and being on this, almost entertainment platform.
Yeah.
You have to be on when you're in sales and business development.
Absolutely.
And you have to, with improv, you have to really take
the situation,
the clues and the cues from other people. And that's what it's like to also listen and to be with customers and clients and hear what they're saying. Because at the end of the day, I'm gonna give some juicy advice here.
Yeah.
In sales, if you just shut up and listen, and your client or customer will tell you exactly what they need. And don't be a narcissist that you think that it's any different from what they told you.
Yeah.
Listen, and I think that that's really cool that was a path that you took because you were sort of forced into that skill set. And a lot of us don't learn that until later in our careers.
That's true. That's very
listening,
true. I've actually never thought of it that way, Melissa. Thank you for...
Well, and I grew up I was singing and I was, in entertainment. And it's funny because it does groom you for a lot of things later in corporate that you don't see until later.
Yeah.
So I think that that's really cool. So business development at a thriving brand. Talk to us about product development because our groups have done some things together and hopefully more.
And there are more coming this season, actually. So we've expanded your group, which is absolutely beautiful. It's Venice and it's phenomenal. It's done really well on the wholesale side so far. So, and we're expanding the collection out. Amazing. So we're so excited. It's a Banko collection and, it is beautiful and it's differentiated and it's all the things that we support and love in this business because we're all about ground up, development and creating something that nobody else has. That I think one of the hardest parts about selling a higher end outdoor brand is what you're selling is a warranty, and that's faith in me. Now, we stand behind our warranty, not to say that we never have issues, but we always will stand behind our warranty. But that's really what you're selling when you're selling higher end outdoor. It's made to last, and that's what needs to happen, especially in a contract setting.
Sure. Well, and the flip of that coin is any great partnership. Everybody's bringing, their own insecurities, but also their own skill set to the table.
Exactly, yeah.
That's where, great relationships are, right? It's two pieces
Absolutely.
making a whole. And so you all having faith in us as a design team and
Absolutely.
with crazy ideas of what product could be, it's great when you find those great partners to
Yes,
say,
absolutely.
listen, we're here to listen, and
Yeah.
we want to take what you can bring to the table and tenfold. We, trust both
Yes,
ways.
exactly.
So I don't think that in school at, budding interior designers, like they're
Yes.
teaching them about what are some really great other sort of mini verticals within our industry.
Yes,
Product development
absolutely.
is one of them.
Yeah.
Listen, you've got designers out there who are specifying FF&E all day long, every day, but there are people and companies and these, these great minds behind where that product comes from.
Absolutely.
And so I certainly had no exposure to that until much later in my career.
Mm-hmm.
So talk to us about that. If you were maybe speaking to a group of younger designers, or gosh, even a designer who's practiced a really long time that maybe is looking to do something new, and is really drawn to that FF&E part of what we do, because interior designers, especially in the commercial space, are doing a lot more than just furniture.
Absolutely.
But I call it the jewelry. It's the
Yes.
jewelry, right?
Yes, absolutely.
So, what about that part of our industry could we educate folks on? Because it's really freaking cool.
Yeah.
And, it's a lot of work.
Yes,
and it's
it
a
is.
lot of development, but it's a different creative process, but a creative process nonetheless. So different
Yes.
from a project, your end game is product.
Yes.
So talk to us about just, some of the, maybe what even designers who have practiced a while would not know about product development and what goes on behind the scenes.
I'd say the hardest thing about it is the actual architecture of it, the framework and the dimensions that have to be so precise to hold certain weights and to hold certain, stick to certain qualities, and knowing what kind of systems you have to use to put in place to make sure that product lasts.
It's not just pretty. It's not just the pretties.
It's not just the pretty. So it starts with a pretty picture. I always say sometimes, we've had some outside designers to try to design some product for us, and we've used some of them, some we haven't. But a lot of times I notice designers are trying to be so different and so differentiated that it doesn't look saleable. And you really have to keep in mind saleability of where is this going to move, and what target market is this going to work in, and what does the price point need to be, and where does it need to stand, and what are the finishes that are trending right now and that are not going to go away anytime soon. And so I would say the biggest thing is to design with even a consumer in mind. You think of a consumer going to a hotel and seeing something absolutely beautiful. They're not necessarily looking to see something, whoa, that's cool and weird, all the time. So especially in the masses and in bigger projects.
And in quantity, that's what commercial, that's what we are selling.
Yes.
It's in quantity. So
Yes.
that's very insightful. And there's only, you've got product that there's classic
Yes.
lines and scale and all of that. So it is so cool to see product as it continues to develop in our industry, and morph through these trends and these seasons and all that.
Absolutely.
But how some things really do stand the test of time.
Absolutely. And it all comes full circle.
Yep.
I mean, like Brown's back. Remember
Yes.
Brown was
I'm so glad.
I know. And it
Because
was
I love those warmer
Yes,
tones. I think we
yes.
were all ready for
Exactly. We're
the
ready for
grays.
change, but it all just full circle. So if
It's
you
like
just follow-
fashion.
Yes,
I
same
say that
exact thing,
outside of our
yes.
industry. How do you know what's trending, and how do you how do you stay on top of that? Our portfolio really does try to focus on more of a classicism.
Yes.
You can pop things in here or there that will
They're
allow that
differentiated,
to be sort of sellable in that moment. But you really do want a more classic space, especially with commercial, because our cycles and that
Yes.
renovation is a lot longer than
Exactly.
residential typically. So, we want to have those classic things, but it's like fashion.
Yes.
And like you said, you've got items, colorways, patterns,
Mm-hmm.
shapes, textures that are hot for a season, and
then
you
they
see them
die
come
out.
back. Like,
Yeah.
we're like, okay, the 70s or the 80s or
Yes,
whatever that
totally
is.
coming back.
It's a lot like fashion.
It's interesting because it's like right now the 70s vibe is kind of back in fabric.
Yeah,
you know?
botanicals
Yes.
and
And so it does. It follows fashion.
Well,
Absolutely.
and joking aside, we have referenced spaces almost as an outfit.
Yeah.
You have to have your capsule wardrobe pieces that are your
Yes,
classic things that every
exactly.
wardrobe should have. Then you're going to have things that are trendy that you can layer on top of that.
Exactly.
And then your lighting and your accessories and your art and your drapery,
your
that's all your
jewelry.
jewelry.
Yes,
So
exactly.
it's
Yes.
design, good design is good design. It can be applicable, to lots of different industries. So it's
Absolutely.
really kind of cool when you compare it that way.
Yeah.
I don't know that many interior designers really identify as artists.
Yes.
And I don't think we're groomed to reference ourselves that way. And
But
I think
in
we cut
my
ourselves
opinion,
short to
you
not.
are. Yes, you're absolutely artists. Some of the best artists in the world. And what you do is creating a canvas that is blank and that because I think about your jobs as, I just sell the furniture, but you having to do every spec of every light fixture and every backsplash and I can't even imagine how all of that comes together.
Oh, but you know that we're
is-
demanding. So
Oh,
you're
well, I love it.
cutting
Yes.
yourself a little short. Like, without great partners like you who
Mm-hmm.
are providing the products that we need, we're dead in the water, man.
Well,
so,
true.
You
But,
have to have
there's
that.
so many choices out there, and there are so many great vendors. There's so many great other outdoor vendors that I love, and they're in the same house that we are, and I have complete respect for them, and I respect other brands, and you have options. You have so many options. So whatever in my desire and my passion is to make sure that you're brought the options that you need, that you have the information at hand that you need in order to specify our product, and to help you make this part easy,
Well, and I will also say that we actually were just talking recently in the portfolio about competition and just there's lots of other design firms out there.
Yeah, absolutely.
In our same verticals, and the differentiator is the people. And
Yes.
so I said it to somebody, maybe we thought there was a copy situation. They're copying. I was like, first of all, flattered.
Yes.
Second, they don't have our spark. They don't
Yes.
have you. They don't
Yes.
have you. They don't have you.
Yeah,
And never,
absolutely.
never disregard that that's huge. Never downplay that.
Yeah.
But that's also in business development and sales and product development. That's a huge part of it. It's about the people you're doing business with as much, if
Yes,
not more, than the
absolutely.
product that you're buying.
Yeah.
So you have to have that trust, and you have to have that collaboration. You have to have that communication. And that's also where the win is. Oh, the win. Did you see what I did there?
That pun
God,
was
that was
amazing.
so good.
Nailed it.
Is the differentiator
Yeah.
in any of that. So what do you need more in your life of?
Well, if I were my husband, he'd say sex. But I do not need more of that.
What do
I
you
feel like I need
more bodysuits?
Yes, more bodysuits. More ladies'
more
pantsuits.
savvy bee.
Yes,
More-
exactly. More of the real purchases.
Yes,
yes.
we were talking way too much about fashion earlier
yes,
before
exactly.
the podcast.
My rental clothing that I love to buy.
Also, a tip and trick for a working mama. So
Yes,
maybe we'll do some
absolutely.
links later.
Yes, exactly. We should.
We don't have
because
time to shop.
It's amazing. We don't have time to shop, and that's why it's so easy. But I would say, when you were a kid and you made birthday wishes, everybody, what's your birthday wish? And you don't tell anybody, but I'm telling you now.
Okay. Good.
My birthday wish was always to be happy. And that is such a cop-out.
It's not. It's not. I read something recently that the definition of happiness is being needed. And I think that can
poignant.
really hit a
Yes.
chord, especially with working mamas.
Yeah.
Because we get stressed that I'm going to cry.
I know.
A lot of crying on this season.
Yes.
Jeez,
Yeah.
it's the hormones. That should be an episode.
Yes.
Is we feel that pull from our kids, from our husbands, joking aside,
Yeah.
you know, we want to keep everyone in our lives happy. So we get tugged by employees and teammates and leadership and investors and all of it.
Yeah.
But
absolutely.
how incredibly blessed are we that we're needed by all of
Yes,
those
absolutely.
people and to feel that need.
And
so I
I
think
do
it's
think
just
that's
trying to
huge, to
drink
feel
some
needed.
Savi B and
Yes.
just one
Cheers
step
to that.
one step. I just hit my mic. One step in front of the other. So cheers. This is a different kind of buzz.
Yeah. We're looking for two kinds of buzzes.
Yes. So listen, thank you so much for hanging out with
Oh my
us
gosh.
today
Thank
and
you
just
for
chatting
having
all
me.
things partnership and work-life balance and momming and
Absolutely.
product development and all the amazing things that you all are doing.
I just want to
at
say,
Summer
you know,
Classics.
one thing I wanted to say is, you know, one struggle for me is going into accounts that aren't necessarily have what you have, like you were talking about. And it's a joy and a pleasure to walk into Banko and feel so at home and so loved and appreciated. And I can't tell you what that means to me. It's an honor to work with you. And you are the powerhouse here, in my opinion. So I love you, and you're beautiful
Make
and
me
amazing.
cry. I love
and
you.
that was my goal. to
Thank
make
you.
cry.
Thank you. Laugh and cry here
Laugh
at the
and cry.
Banko Buzz. So
At the Banko
thank
Buzz.
you for hanging out today.
Of course.
Freaking amazing.
Love
All right,
you.
that's all we got.